Welcome to Microsoft Teams. In this video, we'll be running through a few key features to introduce you to Microsoft Teams and its various integrations. Here is a quick timeline of different points in the video so you're able to pause and jump direct to that part of the video to save some time. It's also important to note that this video was recorded in July 2020, so please use this as a guide to any changes that you may see in the interface while we're going through the video. So what is Microsoft Teams? It's an enterprise-ready collaboration and communication platform that allows you to work with your teammates across geographically separated offices and, given COVID-19, even from home. Let's first look at how to access Teams. If your company is already using Microsoft Teams, there is a good chance that it's already pre-installed on your computer. However, if you're at home, traveling, or not near your computer, then you're able to get to it by heading over to the Office Platform Launcher at office.com, then clicking Teams. Just a side note, Teams is also available in the respective iOS and Android app stores for your mobile devices. These apps allow you to get to your important files, chats, conversations, and even calls on your mobile device and on the road. Okay, so let's jump into the interface. The great thing about Teams is that the interface between the web and desktop versions of the software are almost the same. So anything we show you today should translate to the online version, no problems. Starting with the top left, we have the activity window. This is where you'll see any recent posts to channels that you follow, any app mentions in messages, and general updates from the Teams platform. The chat window is where you're able to start individual and group chats with people both inside and outside your organization. Let's think WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, or Skype. These chats aren't only text messages. You're also able to start voice conversations, video calls, and yes, you can even send someone an annoying cat gif if you absolutely must. The calendar window allows you to access your calendar right from within Teams. This view also syncs with Microsoft Outlook, both in the desktop app and on the web. So no matter what Microsoft application you're in, you'll always know what's coming up next. Creating a new calendar event is super easy and does everything that you expect, including being able to invite other people to your event and use the scheduling assistant to find a time where everyone you're inviting to the meeting within your company is available. Okay, so the call window, well, you guessed it, it's for making calls. Initially, your company may have opted to only allow Teams-to-Teams calls. This means that you're able to search for the name of somebody else already using Teams and click call. This will use the speakers and microphone that are on your computer and allow you to have a conversation, which is often a lot easier than typing messages. Now, a few things to note about calls and Teams. You will need speakers and a microphone on the computer. All laptops will have these built in, but if you're on a desktop computer, you may need a webcam or a headset. I alluded to the fact that you can actually make and receive calls to mobiles, landlines, and overseas numbers from within Teams. This is true, however, your company will need to reach out to 5G networks through your IT support channels in order to get these features activated. So let's just take a quick break from the overview and talk about device selection. This is where we set up our microphone and our speakers within Microsoft Teams. To get to these settings, select your profile picture in the top right-hand corner of Teams application and then select Settings. To adjust the devices, i.e. the speaker or the microphone that calls used within Teams, select the devices from the left-hand menu. Here you'll be able to select your speaker and microphone from the drop-down boxes and make a test call. The test call will call a Microsoft Teams chatbot, and that will ask you to say a few words and then we'll repeat it back to you just so you know that everything's okay. Also on the screen is a secondary ringer. This is for people that use headsets for their primary PC audio. You may want the ring for your calls to come from your main PC or laptop speakers, just in case you don't have your headset on, or so you can hear it when you're close to but not at your desk. Last of all is the camera. While the camera isn't used during calls, Teams is able to make video calls to other Teams users, and this is where the settings are set up. When joining meetings, any backgrounds that you may wish to use are selected during the meetings and adjusted from within the meetings. So there's no need to set those here. Continuing on in the same settings screens by selecting your profile picture and then settings, is the calls menu option. Here you can change how your calls are routed in different situations. For example, when you don't answer, what your voicemail sounds like. Using the voicemail configuration box, Your greeting can either be one you record or you can type one in, and Microsoft Teams will read this out to your caller. Side note, the voice here is actually reasonably good and clear. It's definitely my pick for configuring voicemail. Just make sure you select the correct language. Last of all, on the screen are your ringtones. There are several options to choose from and should allow you to distinguish your ringtone from others. So further down the list is the Files window. This gives you a quick access to files stored personally in your OneDrive. Just remember that OneDrive has the word one in it, so it's for one person and these files only you have access to. The file experience in Teams is changing very soon, so we're not going to spend too much time on this window. So by now you've probably noticed that we skipped over the Teams window earlier. That's just to save the best till last. Teams is where it all comes together and is primarily based on group collaboration. All the windows up until now have been based around you as an individual. There are private chats, your calendar, your calls, and your files. Teams, apart from being confusing when you ask somebody to go to Teams tab within Teams, is where you'll often have several Teams lists that you're a member of, and where you can share threaded conversations, files, and other information. Threaded conversations, what's that you ask? Well, under the chats window, when you send a message, the messages are queued first in best dressed. So if you've got a group chat going and one person doesn't read it for a day, then comes back to 100 messages, you could have transacted several conversation topics in that time, making it confusing to read. The Post tab within the Teams window, you can think of more like a Facebook or a Twitter feed, where there is an initial post made that everyone can then reply to that topic of conversation. So if you see a post about a topic you're not interested in, then you can just skip over it without having to read the 20 or 30 messages, like if the conversation was started under the chats window. So there are a few tips and tricks to watch out for here. At the bottom of the screen, there is where you can start a new conversation. This is like posting to your wall on Facebook and starts a whole new threaded conversation. The reply button under each post is where you'll be able to reply directly to that post and keep the conversation topic going. Posts don't only need to include text. For example, let's stick with the finance team and you're working on an Excel document. You hit a problem with a few numbers and need some help. You can take a screenshot, paste that into the new conversation, type a quick message asking for help, and then link directly to the document so others can then jump straight in and help you find the issue. Posts and their replies can also include all the cat memes that you can think of, and you can even give praise to your teammates for their good work, include attachments of files that aren't in Teams yet, post pictures, and much more. Just remember, when replying to a post, hit reply and not start a new conversation. Okay, so Teams isn't all about chats, calls, and conversations. No, it can do a lot more. Staying inside the Teams window, you can see several other tabs across the top of the screen. The next one is the Files tab. Here you can store files so everyone else in the team can access them. This means that for a finance team working on a budget, 2 or 3 people can all open the document at once, review the figures, and change them as required. This is really great for meetings where everyone isn't in the same room, because now you can all open the document and follow along with the presenter. If you've used Teams before, you would have noticed that there are several different ways to open files within Teams. If you're looking to have a quick look at a document or make a small change, then that's referred to as the Teams or the web view and is often good enough. This is also great for when you're not at your own computer and you're viewing Teams on the web. To open in this light editing mode, select the 3-dot ellipsis and then click either Edit in Teams or Open in Excel Online, replacing Excel with Word or PowerPoint depending on the document type. The web experience has an advantage where it will open in your default browser and allows you to have multiple documents open at once. The downside to the Teams and web versions of these documents is that you won't be able to view or edit any document background, headers, footers, along with several other features mainly referred to as power user features, including complex relations in Excel sheets. On the plus side though, any changes made in the document are automatically saved. So if you lost power or the computer stops responding, then don't worry, nothing has been lost, and the best part is once you've finished typing up your document, you can just exit when you're done and know that everything's saved. For the times when you need full editing functionality of a document, you can simply open the document directly from Teams into the relevant application on your desktop. When opening a document, select the 3-dot ellipsis and then click Open in Excel, etc. This will open the application in the full editing experience on your desktop that you're used to every day. This does require a certain Microsoft 365 license level and the applications to be already installed on your computer. Reach out through your IT support channels if you run into any issues with this. So now I've made some additional changes to the document and it's been opened in the full desktop application. You'll notice in the top left hand side, autosave is on by default. Just like the web and the Teams versions of the Office applications, there's no need to save and you can simply exit the document once you're done editing. If you made a mistake in the document and you need to go back before you started working on it, even with autosave turned on, Teams stores the last 500 versions of the document by default. To access these, click the title of the document and select version history. From here, you can open, edit, and restore a previous version of the document. Let's just close this document for now and jump back into Teams. Opening it up again, we can see that all our changes across all the platforms have been saved, synced, and are available to everybody else. So I guess I've left out another way that you can open files. On preferably a company-owned device, you're able to click sync on the folder that you want to sync down to your computer. And this will present the folder in Windows Explorer just like any other folder. Files open from here have all the same features as a document opened from Teams, and you can verify everything is in sync by checking the autosave option in the top left. Again, everything is saved by default and you can just close the document when you're done. Your team may look different to this one, and tabs at the top are a great way to extend functionality. For example, your company could have placed a policies and procedures link there, or maybe a form for you to be able to submit leave applications. Today in the finance team, I'll show you how to pin a document to the tabs. Let's say everyone is working on one budget Excel document, and it's something you need to view regularly. Now it's a tab at the top of the channel, it's applied to everybody that's part of the finance team, and it's easy to find and access. You may have picked up on me using the term channel a fair bit. Under the Teams window are the teams you're a member of, in this case, finance. Each team can have multiple channels. For now, we only have the general channel, and this is created by default when you set up a new team. Channels are used to further separate information within Microsoft Teams. For example, in finance, we might have a budget 2021-22 channel where only certain team members of the finance team have access to. Looking into this channel, you'll notice that there is now a completely different set of tabs at the top, conversation topics under the Post tab, and files under the Files tab. Channels can either be made private or public, where private ones are restricted to certain people and public ones are able to be viewed by anyone who is already part of the team that the channel is under. Okay, so I have to admit that not everything works the same way as it used to when you transition to Microsoft Teams. Teams doesn't play nicely with certain file types and file names. Generally, it's good practice to keep your file names short, and if you're embedding documents deep within many folders or using excessively large file names, operations like syncing will not work. Likewise, not all Microsoft applications are available online. For example, if you're a Microsoft Access user, while the databases can be stored in Microsoft Teams, you'll need to have the full Microsoft Access application installed on your computer in order to access the data. There are alternative and more modern ways of doing things, including using SharePoint lists and building Microsoft Power Apps and using Power Automate. Likewise, when you're looking for the design flexibility of PowerPoint layouts with normal document editing, then Microsoft Sway may be worth looking into. Okay, so what have we covered today? We've covered chats, conversations, Teams, tabs, files, syncing, many things that Teams can do. And this is only a scratch on the surface. But I hope that you've got a basic understanding of the application, how to open files, the difference between a chat, post, new conversation, and a reply, and certainly how to open a document in the full desktop application to enjoy a rich editing experience. The best way to learn is to explore within the application. Your company may have created a demo team that you can work in while you learn how to share files, reply to posts, and create tabs. That's it, thanks for watching. As always, when you're ready to take the next step with Microsoft Teams, 5G Networks is always here to help, so just reach out through your normal IT support channels and we'll talk to you soon.